President Trump is facing new questions this Saturday morning about the state of peace talks with Iran, and it comes amid a flurry of new strikes happening in the Middle East. Last night, the U.S. hit several Iranian targets, and hours later, Iran attacked Bahrain. Madeleine Rivera is live at the White House for us with the very latest and what the White House is saying. Maddie?
Good afternoon, Aisha. Well, this is perhaps one of the biggest threats yet to this peace deal, and both sides are accusing each other of violating the ceasefire. Bahrain's foreign ministry says it was hit by a number of Iranian drones overnight, and they condemned the attack as a blatant violation of the kingdom's sovereignty and a flagrant threat to the security of citizens and residents. Iran's state-run IRNA news agency says the IRGC Navy targeted U.S. military positions in the region as retaliation against U.S. airstrikes. On Friday, CENTCOM says U.S. forces struck Iranian missile and drone storage locations after Iran hit a Singapore-flagged cargo ship Thursday with a drone. The U.S. indicated it was a breach of the 14-point memo of understanding.
They shot a drone yesterday at a big ship going into the Hormuz Strait. They shot 4 of them. We knocked down 3 of them. One of them, I guess, we didn't miss it. Nobody saw it coming, and it hit a ship and did some damage. But you can't do that stuff.
This morning, the UK's maritime trade operation says another ship was hit. The tanker's bridge was damaged, but all crew members are safe. The agency now raising the threat in the waterway to substantial. No one has taken responsibility for the strike. However, Iran has tried to assert control over the strait, which the U.S. has rejected. Iran suggests the U.S. violated the MOU first for failing to rein in Israel's attacks against Hezbollah. Yesterday, though, Secretary of State Marco Rubio announced a framework agreement between Israel and Lebanon, which he touted as the first step to lasting peace.
There's a lot of work ahead. We don't in any way underestimate the difficulty of the task ahead, but we understand the importance of it, how vital it is.
Israeli officials say, though, they'll continue to occupy parts of southern Lebanon until Hezbollah is disarmed, and Hezbollah has maintained they won't give up their weapons. Aisha.
Okay, Madeleine Rivera live for us from the White House. Maddie, thank you very much. For more, let's bring in Fox News contributor and host of the Hugh Hewitt Show. Hugh, good afternoon to you. Great to see you.
Thank you, Aisha. Good to see you, too. Have a good time there on the mall. Make sure you go to the Ohio Pavilion. Got to be the best pavilion down there. Drop by the Buckeye State.
I'm going to go check it out as soon as I'm done here. Hugh, I want to ask you about what's happening, obviously in the Strait of Hormuz and these back and forth attacks, Iran violating the ceasefire, and then, we strike Iran, Iran strikes back at Bahrain, which is a strategic ally of the U.S. in the Gulf. Should the U.S. at this point abandon talks, or should talks continue with Iran obviously violating our agreement?
Well, Aisha, I hope, and I'm pretty certain the president will order that the United States respond, and not proportionally, but disproportionately. That's what we did after they struck the Singapore flag freighter on Thursday. We hit 3 to 5 of their targets inside of Iran in response. Vice President Vance said last night violence will be met with violence. President Trump said yesterday no attack will go unresponded to. Well, this morning they aimed not just at Bahrain, they sent drones at what is in essence the heartbeat of our 5th Fleet. That's where the headquarters of the American 5th Fleet is, under Central Command in Bahrain. So they're shooting at us on Saturday morning. They also hit a tanker that I believe was coming from Qatar to the United Arab Emirates, if reports are correct. So they're not interested in maintaining what the Vice President agreed with them in Switzerland last week. And so what we've got to remember is
so
if
they're not interested in maintaining this, Hugh, why are we still talking to them?
No. Well, on the chance that we can emphasize via force that they have no alternative but to negotiate with us or they'll get hammered. In 1983, Aisha, they blew up our embassy. We didn't do anything. They killed 64 people. We didn't do anything for 6 months. Then the Iranian Hezbollah blew up the Marine barracks and killed 261 Marines and other military and 58 Frenchmen. We have to respond to force with force. And if they want to put up the white flag and say, let's go back to the MOU, that's fine. But I'm glad that the Vice President said overnight, violence will be met with violence. We can't actually approach these talks in any way, but we should stay in the talks.
Let me ask you about the Strait. You know, I was talking with the Omanis this week, the ambassador of Oman to the U.S., and I wanted to know what is this about managing the Strait, and he told me that, you know, they've been managing the Strait for decades, free of cost. They pick up the tab for it, and it's worked out really beautifully for everybody that uses the Strait of Hormuz. It appears now that Iran just wants to jump onto this, what the Omanis are doing, and make a buck off of it, and to the tune of $80 billion, $40 billion. This is the Wall Street Journal. This is an exclusive report from the Wall Street Journal this week. They write the Islamic Republic estimates that charging for security, safety, and environmental services in the Strait would bring them $40 billion a year in revenue for states involved. And according to officials familiar with the matter, the idea, if it's implemented, would give Tehran cash flow and control that it didn't command before the war. Here is Secretary of State Marco Rubio firing back on that.
You can call it a fee, you can call it a toll, call it whatever you want. If you are charging money to use the Straits, we won't support it, we won't tolerate it, we won't allow it.
How do we maintain control of the Strait when Iran keeps threatening ships, you know, with these tolls, with these fees, or with drones?
Well, it is an unacceptable suggestion demand by Iran. It is an international waterway. There are far narrower straits around the world, by the way, like the Straits of Malacca, which if you allow the neighboring countries to charge, will be the end of international trade, the free and fair global trade upon which the world relies. So Iran cannot get away with this. There isn't anyone in the world that wants them to get away with this, and we're not going to let them get away with it. It would help if NATO stepped up and got their ships there to assist President Trump in patrolling the Iranian violence against the Strait. But it's a card they can only play once. They played it. We've just got to meet it with violence and make sure they don't play it again.
Okay, before I let you go, I got to ask you about this Israel-Lebanon ceasefire agreement they just signed in the last 48 hours here. Apparently, it involves disarming Hezbollah. Are you optimistic about that?
No, I'm not. Hezbollah has to be defeated in the field. Israel is well on their way to defeating it in the field. They have agreed to pause to allow us to try and get this deal worked out with Iran. But Israel cannot be captive to negotiations of which they are not a part, nor do we expect them to be. When they are attacked, they will respond. And I believe Hezbollah has to be defeated actually on the field, or they will never be defeated.
Okay. Hugh Hewitt, thank you so much for joining us on your Saturday. Always great to have you.
Thank you, Aisha. Good to be here.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.